Hello and welcome to Pro Trader Strategies Market Commentary for Friday, August the 19th. My name's Eric Wilkinson. Some of you may recognize me as the Wolfman from CNBC, Fox Business, or even the Wall Street Journal, where I've commented on everything from economic to geopolitical and market analysis. Please keep in mind that everything that we talk about in these market commentaries is not a solicitation to buy or sell any of these securities or strategies. At the end of the day, I'm here to teach you some different strategies that you can implement into your portfolios, but please do that in your own way. The reason why I can't give you a recommendation on a particular stock or strategy is because I don't know your risk parameters. I don't know what's in your portfolios, and therefore what I'm doing could be counterintuitive to what you are already doing. Having that out of the way, let's get this on. Only economic data that we had today was out of Canada, and we've got their core CPI number came in line with expectation, but on the retail sales number, the core retail sales came in at negative 0.8% versus the positive 0.3% they were expecting, so much worse on that front. And then we had the CPI consumer price index come in at negative 0.2%, expected unchanged, and retail sales in general, which includes autos and airplanes, came in at negative 0.1% versus the expected positive 0.5%. So pretty negative up there in Canada for the most part. On to the overall markets. Crude oil futures right there, for all intents and purposes, unchanged, but right on that Fibonacci level. It's showing quite a bit of support right now as it's gotten above that 61% Fibonacci level. So that $48.76 is really where that level is to show support. I'd like to see it get below that, obviously, as I'm short overall oil in general with USO, XOP. So I'd like to see it get back down into that $45 handle relatively soon anyway. But it looks like it's actually losing a little bit of steam, so we should see a bit of a pullback hopefully here, especially with all the crude oil that's still out there. Gold right now down $9.50 on the day, but still in that range. So it's range bound and seems to be stuck in the mud there, right there at the $13 or $1,350 area. Then in the bonds down over a point on the day, testing basically the support level that we've seen acting here. If we get much below this, it's going to want to really trade down into the value area. The support level next here would be right here around the 167, 168 area. That's going to act as support for the overall bonds, but it could want to migrate down to the point of control, which is right here at 163. With the Fed not, indicating that they're going to raise rates anytime soon, that is a unlikely probability in my eyes. I don't think the Fed's going to go this year, so bonds probably will be staying in that range for the foreseeable future. Then we've got the NASDAQ /NQ. In the equities, we have a real mixed bag here. The NASDAQ slightly up on the day. E-mini S&Ps, as I was starting this, was slightly negative on the day. But as you can see, NASDAQ up 1/4 of a point right now, well off the lows that we saw overnight. We've had a big rally basically since the beginning of the open, and now we're kind of starting to trend sideways. On the E-mini S&P, down 3 points on the day, basically. But again, well off the lows of the day and just slightly off the highs, which were made overnight. This is the breakdown of the E-mini S&Ps /ES. This is a 15-minute chart on a daily basis. These are the daily sections. And as you can tell, overnight we were much higher. And then as the night came into today, early morning, we really started selling off to the lows. And then as the market opened, we tested those lows and then bounced off of them quite rapidly, and now are starting to consolidate right here. I don't really see any news coming out that would really make a big market move. It's going to be a rush to the Hamptons here pretty soon, where everybody is going to be trying to get their last few days in at the Hamptons from New York, as we used to call it on the floor. Fridays were always the rush to the Hamptons in the afternoon. So we'll see if the volumes really start coming off quite a bit. On to a couple of trades that I've done today. I actually took this one off, and I put this on for this butterfly series that we're doing. And this one was actually done, I think it was like on August 8th, that I did the September 50, 55, 60 put butterfly. So I was short the 50 puts and the 60 puts, and then long the 55 puts to create that short put butterfly. Came off right quick, as we want to see happen in these types of butterflies for this for the short put butterfly. We want to see a massive move to test those wings or go outside of those wings. That's what we've gotten today. As you can see, we're trading almost at $59, so that's testing my upper puts. Allows all of those puts to really decay rather quickly is what we want to see. And I originally sold that strategy and collected $2.55. Was able to buy it back for $1.60. Now, generally speaking, I'm looking to get about 25% in reduction in that premium to take it off. With this big move that we've seen today, up almost $1.75 here, that allowed that to come out rather quickly. Yesterday, I was probably looking at about a 20% decay in those premiums, but with this big move today, that allowed me to get out rather quickly. If you remember, I did a Verizon one, which is /VZ, and I did the same thing with the short call butterfly a week earlier, and we just haven't seen a move in Verizon like we've seen in Nike. We're seeing a nice trend in Verizon, but it's just not allowing it to really get to those wings rather quickly, so that's hurting us right now. And we're also seeing more of a volatility collapse in Verizon, which with this particular short butterfly, we wanted to see volatility increase, which we did see a bit of an increase with the Nike. As if I can pull this up and stretch it out just a little bit, you'll be able to see we did get a bit of an increase on this since we implemented that strategy, so that's helped us also. All right, so that one worked out really well. We're still kind of waiting on the Verizon. We're at about 20% of max profit on that, and I'd like to see it come in a little bit more. I've actually got a working order in there right now to try and get out about 25% of my max profit. Now on to Deere. Oh, Deere. Deere came out and surprised with much better than expected earnings. They were expected about 96 cents, came out at $1.55, and as you can see, our screaming higher was up almost $10 on the day earlier. I followed my mantra of trying to get out of this early on in the session. Thankfully so, because I got out when I was getting beat up at about $3 some odd higher, and then really it just exploded to the upside. But I was able to get out of this relatively early in the day. But if we can go and check out on the 15-minute chart, there was basically almost no chance of getting out of this early. As the market opened, it just almost had no stopping. I got out right around in here for a loss, but thankfully so. It continued to really get worse had I left that on. And I sold the August that expired today, sold this 79.5 calls for 51 cents, had to buy them back for $1.34. So thanking my lucky stars on that. But it was just a screamer. It was chasing the market, actually going to the market on that for the most part to get out. Had a couple of bids in there and just really started ratcheting it up to get out early. Today's webinar is going to be on the long put butterfly. So that one we're going to be looking for something that has more of a range bound, maybe some volatility collapse in there. It's going to be difficult to find something that's going to have some volatility collapsing going on, but that's what we're going to be looking for that particular trade. Maybe something that's just had earnings and we can get a little bit more squeeze out of it, like Lowe's or something. But and the beauty in this type of trade is that we can go to maybe even the Googles and the Chipotles and play with some of those big boy stocks and be able to put this on for a very small debit. So check that out. I'm going to go through all the rules to follow to implement that strategy to be successful, increase your probabilities of success. And you can go to protraderstrategies.com, sign up for that. There's a lot of other good stuff on there that you can find also. I've got Volatility Crush webinars and classes and ProTrader hacks that you can look at to speed up your day and finding these different nuances within the options chain. All right? That's all I got for you today. If you can't, let me get it right. Can't take that, take it easy.